Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 10 a.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we're receiving news out of Pitt County where a student was struck by a car in the parking lot at North Pitt High School. North Carolina State Highway Patrol says it's investigating the accident that injured a pedestrian in the parking lot of North Pitt High School located at 5659 Highway 11. Now, troopers say the student was hit by a car driven by another student at dismissal yesterday at around 3:40 p.m. Now, officials say the student who was hit received immediate attention from the staff and first responders. Troopers say the student had serious injuries and was taken to ECU Health Medical Center for treatment. The collision is currently under investigation by troopers and school administration. Now, we also want to highlight another crash. It has happened in Onslow County and is causing some traffic delays around northern Onslow County. Around 8:20 a.m. this morning, Onslow County Sheriff's Office says drivers may see delays on Highway 258 near Northwest Bridge Road as a result of a severe crash. Now, officials say the drivers can use Thomas Loop Road to Old Northwest Bridge Road to avoid that crash. Now, we are still working to get a reporter out on the scene, and we will continue to update this story as we learn more information. And now your weather forecast. Again, all eyes on the tropics because looking outside right now, we really don't have much going on across eastern North Carolina over the next few days, at least until we get into next week when rain showers finally start to show up again. So again, in the Weather Center, the big story that we're really tracking, not only, of course, the drought across eastern North Carolina, which again, we do have a fix for next week, but Tropical Storm Melissa expected to go through rapid intensification. There we go. That's a phrase I'm looking for. As we make our way through the next several days. Expected to go from a tropical storm right now in a fairly weak tropical storm. Right now, maximum sustained winds at only 45 miles an hour. This thing is massive in size, but it is still not all that strong from a pressure or wind perspective. Gusts right now up to 60 miles an hour and pressure still over 1,000 millibars. Now, the next update will come down at 11 a.m. We'll have more details on the latest from Melissa at that point, but a National Hurricane Center forecast continue to show this system not only becoming a hurricane, but becoming a major hurricane as we head to the tail end of this weekend into the start of next week. It's going to be cruising just on that south side of Jamaica and then kind of curl around the island before making a pass back over the southeastern half of Cuba, where it will then cross over the Turks and Caicos Islands and head towards Bermuda. Now, I know a lot of people are wondering, okay, will this impact eastern North Carolina in any form or fashion? Most likely no. If we're to experience any sort of impacts, going to be coming from the waves generated by this system once it clears Cuba. So long as it stays in the Caribbean, we're not going to be feeling anything. But we could experience some higher surf and some higher swells along our coastline early next week to the middle of next week that could possibly lead to some beach erosion. Other than that, we're not going to be seeing any wind, any rain out of this system, as the center of Melissa will stay at least 700 miles off of our coast. So great news there. As far as your sky conditions go across the east, currently again very sunny. We knew the sunshine would continue throughout the entirety of the week. You can, if you squint, you can see some clouds well off in the distance, but I'm not going to force you to do that. 57 degrees right now in Grifton. Right now, most of us are seeing dew points down. These are dew points, not air temperatures. Dew points down in the low to mid 40s. As you get closer to the water, you're seeing more of the upper 40s, low 50s. But that highlights again the very dry nature of our atmosphere. A lot of dry air is sitting over us, so that's only going to worsen the drought. If we don't have any moisture in the air, it's going to get very difficult to get any rain out of that air. Now, we will change that fact once we get into next week, as we will see a little bit more humidity work its way back into the east on Sunday. But for this evening, it's going to be getting chilly. Friday night, I know a lot of people are heading out for some Friday night football. Make sure you plan for the weather. It is going to be chilly out there, especially if you're sitting on metal bleachers. So I would bring a blanket, something to sit on, a seat cushion, but also we're going sweatpants, sweatshirt, something to keep you nice and toasty. Some jeans would also work. Tomorrow morning, it will stay chilly. It's going to be in the upper 30s to low 40s as we get towards 6, 7, and 8 a.m. Don't be surprised, again, if we have some frost on the grounds for some inland areas, especially those of you watching back towards I-95 and a little bit closer to the Virginia line. Now, again, the cold start will transition into a fairly comfortable afternoon. We will be staying a little bit cooler over the weekend than what we've experienced over the past few days. But again, mid-60s this time of year, not too bad. At least we got the sunshine to go along with it. Now, zooming the picture out, we can get a good idea of what our next rainmaker is truly going to be looking like. It's that area of low pressure across Oklahoma and Texas that will be providing us those drops as we head into really Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. For now, this is going to be a very slow moving system, not going to do a whole lot of moving over the next 48 hours from a west to east perspective. It will do some, but again, that slowdown over Oklahoma and Arkansas will delay its time of arrival, getting in again as we head into next week, and that will keep this weekend nice and dry throughout the area. So here's a look at that 8-day forecast. Again, coming up next Friday, we've got our eyes on Halloween. And rain chances, again, are expected to finally taper off coming up late Thursday into the early hours of your Friday morning. So right now, again, Halloween looking ideal. A little chilly, yes, but you come to expect that when you get to this time of year. It's always a flip of the coin. All right, how cold is it going to be on Halloween? But I know everybody always wants to make sure, do we have to bring an umbrella for trick-or-treating? Because that means we may not be able to stay out as long. As you start collecting candy, sometimes you need two hands to hold that heavy bag. And if you've got another hand with an umbrella, that kind of limits your candy collecting potential. Yes, I am still very much a child inside. But that's all we have time for today's 10 a.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic Friday.
This hour of the WITN First Alert Desk is sponsored by ENC Pirate Realty.